Hi, hi. So we are on part 10 of what's on the shelf. And in this cubby, we have Heaven and Ale, Fallout, Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born, and Formula D. So Heaven and Ale was a game that I first played at the first fall con that I attended in 2018. And it's a game that has some very neat mechanic. So if you look, that middle portion, that middle board there, that's where everybody puts kind of their monks as they go around. And you can go as far forward as you want to do the different action because each tile will do different things. It'll either give you access to a resource token that you can add, a little resource tile that you can add to your player board, or a monk tile, or different things that you can kind of do as you go around. So you can go as far as you want, but you can never go backwards. And whoever's behind you is or whoever's in the back is the one that kind of moves forward next. So it can kind of limit us to what you can accomplish. But you can kind of skip ahead to something that you really want to kind of secure it as well. So it's an interesting mechanic with just the action taking portion. First one to kind of get to the end of that line, there's 4 different starting space, and then you can kind of select on what you want to do. Either you're going to be the first one to start, so you kind of get the first action, or maybe you want to have a little bit more money to kind of start the next round. So it kind of allows you to do different things here. Now, if you look at the player board as well, this kind of has a unique ability, a unique mechanic as well. So in that middle section there, you got the light green side and the darker green side. So depending on where you place the tiles that you've acquired, first of all, you have to depending on where you put it, if on the dark side, it'll give you money if you place it next to different things. So actually, it doesn't give you anything until you've surrounded a village. And then you'll notice you have those green, like the green tile that has like the beige in the middle, and that's the village. So when it's all surrounded, that village activates. And then the way that it activates depends on the tally of all the resources you have around it. So the higher the points that are surrounding that particular tile, the more different tile around it that's going to activate. The lower the amount, the less it's like only a few of the tiles are going to activate, but they're going to activate in different ways. So on the dark tile, it'll provide you money. On the light tile, when they activate, it'll actually along the left side and the top, you have all the different ingredients, and then those will kind of move forward. At the end of the game, the way that it's scored, you take the resource that you've built up the most, and it kind of gets multiplied with the resource that's further back. So it's really in your benefit to kind of move everything along as close together as you can, just because the one that's further back is going to lower your score. So it doesn't matter if you get a bunch of them way up high. If you got one that didn't upgrade as much as the rest of them, it's going to affect your score as well. It's a neat game. It's different type of game. I haven't really kind of played anything that reminds me of this one. That kind of seems very familiar to this. And when you go around that middle board too, like you can kind of select where you'll activate all the white tiles, or you're activating all the yellow tiles. So depending on how you build your board, what side it's going to be on, how it's going to affect your game. And there's a picture here as well of that game being played. So each player gets their own little player board plus that middle board that everybody is on. Very neat game. If you haven't played this one yet, I highly recommend it. It's a good one. Next game I have on my shelf is Fallout. So Fallout is I guess it's based on a video game, and I'm saying that because I've never actually myself played that video game. And from the look of it, like the box, you're thinking is like, oh, this is like a very serious game, but The artwork is almost a little bit cartoony. It's an interesting one, but I guess it follows the IP quite well. So in this one here, you build this tile. It's all these tiles that you kind of put down in this area, and then as you go around, the tiles are going to be flipped over and they're going to reveal different things. Maybe there's monsters, maybe there's different things that you're going to discover. What's really neat with this game as well is as you play, you're going to be faced with options and decisions. So maybe it comes across and says you find this stray dog, and do you want to feed the dog or do you kind of kick him and shoo him away? And then depending on what you decide to do, different cards get added and shuffled into the deck. So the deck kind of slowly follows the story that you're doing, and based on your decisions, you upgrade your own character, kind of make him more powerful, giving them better weapons as you're going around. And then what's kind of interesting as well is each movement round, the monsters that are spawned onto the board are going to move towards the players. So kind of depending on where they're located, where they're going to move to. And then if you ever battle with a monster, each monsters have different, I guess, a spot where they're a little bit more vulnerable. So maybe a monster kind of is more vulnerable if you hit them in the head. So you have your dice where you roll and it kind of shows which body parts you're hitting. So it's a very interesting game. I enjoy this one quite a bit. I played my friend's copy the first time and then ended up getting my own copy. And I haven't made it through like all of the different campaigns, because you set up with a different campaign, so you kind of go through different stories. So I haven't gone through all of those yet. So I'm still excited to see what else is going to come available in this game. The next one I have on my collection is Ashes: Rise of the Phoenix Born. I bought this game not knowing anything about it because the artwork on the box was so stunning. It looks so good. And I am not disappointed because the gameplay very much appeals to me as well. And the artwork on the cards are just as beautiful. So with this one here, there's the base game, I believe, comes with 6 different characters that you can play as. Each character has their own deck of cards. So you have the Phoenix Born, which is your main character that you're going to play as. You have your main deck that's going to have the spells that you can do, the allies that you can bring into battle, and it's going to have a darker card as well that has a darker background, and that's the creatures you can summon as well. What's really neat with this one and kind of unique to this one that I thought is that everything is activated from the dice. So each character is going to have 2 different sets of dice that they'll be utilizing. So you get, I think it's 5 of each. So at the beginning of the turn, you roll all of those dice. There's up to 3 different things that they can have on there. The most powerful one could be used as any one of those 3 icons. So the weaker icon will allow you to activate a spell, or maybe to be able to bring in an ally into your battle area, you'll need to have 2 different cards, 2 different dice, one that has the middle value one, and one that has the weaker value one. And if you don't have any of the weaker value one, you could use 2 of the middle value dice, but then you're utilizing kind of more buying power than you have to technically, and then those dice that get spent get put into kind of on the other side of the card to show that they've been spent. The dice themselves have ability as well, so you could utilize a dice to mitigate different things as well that you have. Some will allow you to kind of re-roll dice or kind of control what's happening on the dice side as well. It's very neat. I really enjoy how you roll the dice. That kind of determines what you can utilize, and then it's okay, great, so I'm bringing in some allies and I'm gonna spawn this creature, and then you're battling with the other Phoenix Born, so let's say you're attacking the Phoenix Born, but then the Phoenix Born puts an ally to take the brunt of the attack, so they don't themselves get any of the damage, but now their ally's been removed from the battle. And it's a fun, neat one, and I tend to really seem to enjoy these 1 versus 1 battle games. So this one here kind of shows the different characters available. So like I said, the base game comes, I think, with 6, and there was a lot of extra characters you could purchase along. And for a while there, they were selling those for just $2.50 a pack. So I had a few extra characters brought in or added to my collection there. This is the dice, kind of like the card that shows how the dice are spent. Let me bring this closer up so you can kind of see. So on that first one there, the blue dice with the green images. So when you roll the dice, if you get the frog, then that's the most powerful your dice can be, and then it can do a bunch of multiple things. But it could be utilized as if it was a leaf, or it could be utilized as if it was that triangle shape in the bottom. And then depending on the card that you utilize it against, what it can do, it's such a neat game. And the dice are pretty and the cards are pretty, so that definitely helps. Here's kind of a close-up on the dice as well. I think it's also worth mentioning that they've just reprinted this game, and it's called Ashes Reborn. So they've kind of redid the whole game. I'm not sure how it's changed per se. I know that they also have an upgrade kit that you can buy just to upgrade your original game to the Ashes Reborn, so I'm looking into getting that one, but I haven't got my own copy yet, so hopefully soon. I'm really excited about this one. Next game in my collection is Formula D. This one is a family favorite. So when we're all 6 of us playing at the table, this is one that will accommodate a lot of players, so then that's great. So it is fully a car racing game, and it actually kind of feels like a race as well. It's really neat. Every player receives a gearbox where you're going to be shifting your speed from first gear, second gear, and so on. So in the first gear, you're rolling, I think it's a D3, and then so when you roll, you could have like 1 or 2, I think it's 1 or 2, I don't think 3 is on that one. Or if you go into second gear, now you can roll like from 3 to possibly 5. And if you go into third gear, then the dice slowly kind of get bigger and give you bigger numbers to roll. Like you won't be able to roll a 1 if you're in third gear. You'd have to shift back down if you're trying to roll small. And each corner are indicated as to how many times you're supposed to pause and kind of stop in the corner. And basically that's kind of mimicking that you're slowing down enough to make the corner. And if for any reason you don't, and you roll the dice and you didn't make your second stop that you needed in that corner, well then your car itself is going to start taking damage. Maybe your brakes are going to go, your tires are taking damage because you're not stopping properly. Sorry, I've kind of went forward. Great game, the Formula D with the racing and then the little shift gearbox things. It's really, really neat, and we really enjoyed that one. And then I guess that was it on that cubby. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, my Facebook group is Didsbury Area is Playing All the Games, or I am also on Instagram as Boardgame_mama. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.